कहना अनिवार्य है, ठीक है, हिंदी का कोई बात नहीं। तो आई थिंक more Hindi will be probably, that is what some people are talking, so I'll try to go in that, and then I will, wherever required, I'll quote from English also and avoid Marathi. So in the entire Indian literature, पूरे भारत के जो साहित्य है, प्राचीन तथा अर्वाचीन साहित्य है, उसमें उपनिषदों का वेदांत, जिसे वेदांत में जो उपनिषद कहते हैं, उसका अनन्य साधारण महत्व है. One of the most, you can say, precious literature for the world, for the entire humanity. And why it is like that? Because you can say the questions which are handled by this literature, these Upanishads, are still very piercing questions. जो प्रश्नों पर उन्होंने तब विचार किया, अभ्यास किया, उसका विस्तृत उसके बारे में लिखा, बताया, वो अभी भी उतना ही महत्वपूर्ण है. Someone has raised the hand. So it is perennial. The type of knowledge which is there. Nigma Udani, you have raised the hand. You want me to stop and answer, or you can write in the chat box? I think
सेशन के एंड में हम क्वेश्चन आंसर
रखेंगे. अभी आप आपके डाउट्स पूछिए, और तब तक अगर कुछ आपको पहले ही पूछना है तो चैट बॉक्स में लिख सकते हैं. So roughly I will continue for first 1 hour or so, little before 1 hour or maybe 1 hour as the thing, and later on later on we'll take question answers. So that time definitely you ask the questions and I will like to tell or discuss whatever little I know. I'll definitely like to share. This is like a infinite knowledge. So उसमें से जितना हमें महासागर से हम ले सकते हैं, उतना हम उसमें से लेने की कोशिश करेंगे. तो here we are talking about one of the major Upanishad, that is, and what are these Upanishads all about? So first I'm just sharing my screen to give you an overview. Yesterday Cain or the before that Isha Upanishad probably has been done, but cut, and tomorrow I will be taking majorly Prashnopanishad as per the work. I mean, as per the document which has been coming to me. But in that process, I will also like to narrate overall ideas which are common with some Upanishads and how Kathopanishad is the source of many other scriptures also. So here I am showing in the beginning just a little bit of details of what we talk as the Upanishadic philosophy, and then I will enter into the one which is the major discussion. I think on your screen you are able to see it. आपको screen पे कुछ points दिख रहे हैं?
Yes, sir, we can see. Yes.
So the whole essence of all the Upanishad, including Kathopanishad or Prashnopanishad or Ishopanishad, Cain Upanishad, these are the, I think we talk them as the main 10 Upanishads, because out of hundreds of Upanishads which were written, these are the 10 on which Adi Shankara has done commentary. So जो दशोपनिषद हम जिसे बोलते हैं, वो प्रमुख उपनिषद है, क्योंकि उसके ऊपर आदि शंकराचार्य जी ने उन पर भाष्य किया, और इसलिए हमारे लिए वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण हो सकते हैं. और कई सारे लिखने वाले हैं उसको, जैसे हमने जाना याज्ञवल्क्य ऋषि थे, उद्दालक अरुणी है, श्वेतकेतु, शांडिल्य, ऐतरेय, पिप्पलाद, मैत्रेयी, गार्गी जैसे भी विदुषियों का उसमें उल्लेख है, सत्यकाम जाबाल है, भारद्वाज है. तो कई सारे लोगों ने उसमें ये जो प्रश्नोत्तर के रूप में सारे उपनिषद है, इट इज मोस्टली इन द फॉर्मेट ऑफ सम स्टोरी विच इज कंसिस्टिंग ऑफ क्वेश्चन आंसर्स बिटवीन टू पीपल, and through that so much has been discussed that, as I said, it is source of I mean, it is an inspiration for some of the major philosophies of India as well as of the world. And many of the even modern thinkers have attributed कि हमने हमारा जो source है inspiration का, जिसने जहाँ से हमने ये विचार दर्शन हमें मिला, वो उपनिषद था. And not only philosophers, but even the people from diverse fields, including psychology, science, even the modern quantum science. If the time permits, I will like to tell something from that. where a lot of scientists have openly told about the similarity they found in the findings of modern quantum physics and the ancient Upanishads. So these were the ancient sages and seers, and how they were able to see something which today only advanced technologies or the you can say microscopes and telescopes and the at the nano level some things are there. How our people were able to discuss that? That is because the whole idea of getting knowledge was different. The way of getting knowledge, the जिसको हम ज्ञान के साधन कहते हैं, किस प्रकार से ज्ञान का ग्रहण करना है, वही बहुत अलग थे. और एक जिसे हम कहते हैं कि उसको श्रवण करना है, मनन करना है, निधिध्यास उसका होना है, और उसके बाद उसका दर्शन होना है. इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस टू not just know by intellect but also to understand it through our by seeing the thing. So knowing is the first stage of this entire Upanishadic you can say education, where somebody is trying to know it from the guru, and like Narad Sanat Kumar is there, or the Satyakam Jabal and his guru is there, or Uddalak and Aru. So there are pairs like this, we know. But everywhere, or the famously in Brihadaranyaka, as we know, the Yajnavalkya and his discussion with Maitreya is there. Or today what we are talking, the Nachiketa and Yama's discussion is there. So somebody is trying to understand it, but that knowing is just the first stage. After that, he is able to actually see it himself. And so that exercise is given, like we see in many Upanishads, in Chandogya and other Upanishads, that he is telling the person to yourself go and see. Find out what exactly it is and then experience it. So the third stage was experiencing it. And when you know something by intellect and your reason, and then you see it, and then third thing, you actually experience it, then only the knowledge becomes something which can be shared with the others. So that is the fundamental, the first point we should know is the whole idea, the ज्ञान ग्रहण करने का जो पद्धति थी या उसका जो उद्देश्य था, वही बहुत अलग था. और ज्ञान क्या है, किससे ज्ञान कहना चाहिए, इसका विवरण भी बहुत अलग था. और इसलिए पहले उसे सुन लो, पहले उसको समझ लो अपने बुद्धि से, लेकिन वही उसका अंतिम लक्ष्य नहीं है. बुद्धि से समझना अंतिम लक्ष्य नहीं है. इनफैक्ट कठोपनिषद जब हम आज बताएंगे तब उसमें एक बहुत सुंदर श्लोक है कि तर्क से कभी भी आत्मा का ज्ञान नहीं हो सकता, सिर्फ तर्क से नहीं हो सकता, लेकिन तर्क से शुरुआत हो सकती है. So try to see it through your intellect, try to understand it through the intellect, and then see it yourself. See that it is happening all around you. You look at it as through your observation, through your all senses. You try to see that the same thing is actually can be seen all around you. And the drishya as well as the adrushya jagat, the gross as well as the subtle world, is full of this knowledge which is in front of you. You have to open your eyes and see it. That's how the Upanishads tell. And that once you know it, once you see it, the तीसरा पार्ट जो था वो उसको आप जब आप उसको खुद देखते हैं, उसके बाद आपको उसको अनुभव करना है, क्योंकि अनुभव करने के बिना कोई भी ज्ञान पूर्ण नहीं होता. तो वो अनुभव करना है और उसके बाद ही आप उसको किसी के उसके बारे में बोल सकते हैं. तभी आप गुरु आपको अधिकार देता है कि ठीक है, अभी आपको समझ में आ गया, अभी आप उसके बाद. सो दैट इज अ वेरी सो ब्यूटीफुल एंड इंटीग्रल मेथड ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग. That's why, as I said, even the modern physicists or the great scholars, astronomers, and the people from all walks of life, even from the political science and people from economics and from sociology, psychology, why they are quoting Upanishads? Why some of the great stalwarts who have laid the foundation of India, जिन्होंने भारत की पूरी नींव रखी हमारी संस्कृति की, वो क्यों हमेशा उपनिषदों के बारे में बात करते हैं? तो इसका ये कारण है कि उसमें जो ज्ञान दिया, उसमें जो दर्शन दिया है, वो अभी भी सबके लिए एक प्रकार का हम कह सकते बेंचमार्क है. उसके आगे कुछ हुआ नहीं ज्यादा. तो इसलिए चाहे महर्षि अरविंदो हो या बाल गंगाधर तिलक हो, और या पहले जमाने में आदि शंकरा और बाकी तीनों आचार्य हो, और सर्वपल्ली राधाकृष्णन हो या एकनाथ ईश्वरन हो, स्वामी रामा हो, कई लोगों ने और पाश्चात्य लोगों ने भी उस पर कमेंट्रीज लिखने का उन्हें मोह हो गया और उन्होंने उस पर लिखा. मैक्स मुलर हो या शॉपेनहावर हो, तो कई लोग अभी भी लिख रहे हैं उसके ऊपर. और जो बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स है, मैं बहुत संक्षेप में उनको एक बार जस्ट उल्लेख करूंगा और फिर हम लोग हमारा जो मेन टॉपिक है उस पे आएंगे, क्योंकि समय बहुत लिमिटेड है। तो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट जो है सारे उपनिषदों में वो आत्मज्ञान की है, आत्मविद्या है। और आत्मविद्या के बिना, उसके विदाउट द नॉलेज ऑफ द सेल्फ, all other knowledge cannot be complete. So that's why we should know Brahman and Atman. And Brahman is same as the Atman. What is there inside you as that eternal flame is same what is beyond the cosmos and governing the entire existence. So that unity between the microcosm and the macrocosm, that is one of the fundamental idea of Upanishads. And then whether that should be done with the our living in this world, or it should be done with the totally renouncing the world. It should be saprapancha or the nishprapancha. Are you going to leave this world and seek for the knowledge, or you should do it within this world only? So that question has been handled कि यहाँ ही रह के, इस प्रपंच में ही रह के, यहाँ की सारी समस्याओं को जीते हुए ये ज्ञान का ग्रहण करना है। इसलिए बहुत सारे उपनिषद आप देखेंगे उसमें कभी एक कोई राजा बैठा है सिंहासन पे, रोज उसे कई सारे, जनक जैसे राजा को कई सारे रोज बहुत ही गहन विषयों पर उसको काम करना पड़ता है, फिर भी वो उपनिषदों का ज्ञान देता है। कोई धर्मव्यास जैसा एक है, उसका काम ही प्राणियों को काटकर उसका मांस बेचना है, लेकिन ऐसा एक बीच बाजार में बैठा हुआ एक बहुत ही, हम कह सकते हैं हमारी दृष्टि से एक बहुत ही साधारण काम करने वाला आदमी, एक बुचर है, ही इज जस्ट अ बुचर who is selling meat of different animals, but he tells something from the Upanishads. Or there are people who are in the middle of the, what I'm trying to tell is to practice spirituality or to practice this great knowledge in the battlefield of life is what was expected, not going to the forest or the mountains and seeking it, because there anyway you are going to get it easily, but to get it in the middle of life is very difficult. That's why saprapancha was the very important part in this. And then that is because there is a paravidya and aparavidya. There is a knowledge of this world as well as the knowledge of the beyond, knowledge of the transcendent. So that is a famous question, which what are the types of the subjects, and then the answer comes dve vidye viditavye paracha parachaiva. So there are all these very fundamental ideas are discussed. What is vidya, what is avidya, and what is the actual thing, the real truth, and the things which are covering the truth, and how we should get that, as I said, Shravan Manana and all, Dhyan. What is the importance of the different states of consciousness, whether it's Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupta, Turiya, and what is the fundamental reality, Sat, Chit and Ananda, or it is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. So that type of common ideas you will see that they are flowing through most of the Upanishads, but the detailing is different, the way it has been looked at is different. And that's why they have become so important. And they are all from the Shruti literature. As we know, it's not Smruti. Shruti is the one which constantly or eternally will be same, and Smruti will be changing with the time. That is some little bit of background only I wanted to give. And these are the 10 Upanishads, as we all know: Isha, Kena, Kathaprashna, Mundak, Mandukya, Taittiriya, Aitariya, Chandogya, and Brihadaranyaka. So these are the main Upanishads which we all should know. And out of that also, one of the very important Upanishad which most of the people have quoted is Kathopanishad. So that is something which will be very interesting to understand. And Kathopanishad, as probably you know, is the story of a Vajashravas, which was a very well-known person in the society, and he had a yajna which is called as the Vishwajit Yajna, and that in that yajna he was trying to give all the charity and all. So in that, it so happened that when he was giving this charity, and his son was watching, his son's name was Nachiketa. So Kathopanishad starts with this particular story of Vajashravas and Nachiketa, and total 3 sections are there, about 109 verses are there in this very important Upanishad. And when Nachiketa जब देखता है कि पिताजी एक यज्ञ कर रहे विश्वजीत नाम का और सबको दान दे रहे, तो उसे लगता है कि अब ये थोड़ा सा कुछ उसको अजीब लगता है, because what his father is doing is he is giving some of the things which are not useful to him, he is giving that as a dan. For example, he is giving some cows which cannot give milk or they cannot breed. So such useless things for him, he was sort of pretending that I am doing the charity, I am doing dan. लेकिन जो दे रहा था वो चीज ठीक नहीं थी, बराबर नहीं थी. तो नचिकेता के मन में एक शंका आ गई और वर्णन ऐसा होता है कि उसके मन में श्रद्धा आ गई. इट्स अ वेरी ब्यूटीफुल वर्ड देयर. एंड व्हाट इज दिस श्रद्धा? श्रद्धा इज आस्तिक्य बुद्धि, और इट इज द Swami Vivekananda says it is the faith in the self and the faith in the truth behind this world. And that faith is very important thing to rise in the mind of someone. And he often said, so Swamiji has often quoted that what we want is young people who are like Nachiketa. And the people, why, somebody asked why you quote his example, because he said he was the person who had this Shraddha. That means he had this faith that things should be going correctly, whether people watch me or not, whether people know these cows are useful or not. But as a person, good person, I need to be faithful. I need to have that faith that I should do the correct thing. No matter whether it is caught or not caught and all, but I should do it for the sake of that righteousness or the dharma. So that is what he had, Nachiketa. And therefore then Nachiketa told his father that look, you are giving all these cows to the different people who are not useful. They cannot do anything. Whom you are going to give me? आप मुझे किसको दे रहे हैं? आप ये सब गाय तो लोगों को दे रहे, लेकिन अब मुझे भी दे दो किसी को. तो ये उसने बहुत ही साहस से पूछा प्रश्न, और उसके पिताजी को गुस्सा आ गया. वाजिश श्रवस बड़े थे, लेकिन बहुत गुस्सा आ गया कि अपनी भूल किसी ने दिखा दी. योर मिस्टेक इज शोन बाय समबडी, योर सन ऑल्सो. तो उन्हें गुस्सा आ गया और उनको लगा कि तुम मुझे ऐसी चीज पूछते हो कि मैं ठीक से दान नहीं कर रहा हूं, और तुझे कुछ किसे देना है, तो मैं तुझे मृत्यु को दे देता हूं. तो आई गिव इट टू द डेथ ऑफ गॉड ऑफ डेथ. और ऐसा बोल के उन्होंने एज इफ श्रापवाणी हो वैसा ही कर्स्ड हिम, एंड देन ही केप्ट क्वाइट. So the answer which Nachiketa is giving, as I was telling, why Nachiketa is considered as one of the ideal person for Indian, you can say, human being, means what type of person India has sought for. So it's like a Nachiketa. So that fearlessness, or not fearing what will happen to me, and if I go to the death, what will happen, and should I plead, should I just prostrate in front of my father and ask for mercy? Those options were in front of him, and probably father would have pardoned him also. But then Nachiketa says, okay, since you have said this, I will keep your word, I will keep the promise, and I will go to the death. So once he said that, his father suddenly got sort of he felt very bad, and he said that I have done a big mistake now, that I just told you that sort of you should go to the death, but this was not the right thing for me to give away a son to a death. That is as good as telling him to die or making him die. So he says, no, this is just I said out of my anger, and we'll discuss that. But then Nachiketa answers him, very beautiful that answer comes, and he says that there are so many people, they were born and they have been now dead. They are no more there. And he tells his father that this life is just like a blade of grass. जो हमारा जीवन है वो एक तृण के जैसा है. तृण मतलब जो घास का एक छोटा सा तिनका होता है, उसके जैसा जीवन है. वो जमीन से आता है, कुछ देर रहता है, उसके बाद वो नष्ट हो जाता है. तो इसका क्या इतना महत्व रखना है? महत्व हमारे शब्द का है. अगर what you have said is more important, and if we just come back on that, or if people tomorrow say that Nachiketa was frightened, उसे भय लगा इसलिए उसने वो नहीं किया, तो ये बहुत ही गलत चीज हो जाएगी. If you are given that thing, the life is just like तृणवत. It comes and it gets destroyed within no time, and again it comes back. So he's telling, that young man is telling his father that Janma and Mrityu are just two parts of life, and they are very natural parts of life. बहुत ही स्वाभाविक जन्म और मृत्यु है. तो उसमें क्या इतना परेशान होने की चीज है? आप क्यों उस पर वापस पुनर्विचार कर रहे हैं? आपने मुझे मृत्यु को दिया है, मैं मृत्यु के पास जा रहा हूं. तो ये जीवन खत्म हो जाएगा शायद, और फिर नया जीवन आएगा. तो ये जो फंडामेंटली हम कह सकते हैं निर्भयता है, और अपने विचार पे या अपने आकांक्षा पे एक अड़िग रहना है. That was the idea which was behind starting of this Nachiketa's discussion, and that comes out of, as I said, Shraddha. It comes out of the faith, And so Nachiketa says in a very beautiful verse from Kathopanishad that Bahuna memi prathamo. I'm better than many people, and there are also many people better than me. But when I look at myself, I find a lot of people are behind me also. That means I'm definitely better than so many people in this world. There is no presentation. I'm just talking to you. I just had initial some discussion with presentation. So I'm now narrating some of the important ideas from Kathopanishad. And there you will find that, sort of, he says that this Bahuna memi prathamo, I'm better than many people. And some people are better than me also. But whenever I look around, I find nowhere I am the last. ऐसा कहीं भी नहीं है, कोई भी दृष्टि से मैं सबसे पीछे नहीं हूं, मैं सबसे अंतिम नहीं हूं. तो ये वो विश्वास है, वो अपने आप पर विश्वास होना, अपने आप पर ये श्रद्धा होना कि मैं बहुत लोगों से अच्छा हूं और कुछ लोगों से मैं थोड़ा सा कम भी हूं. ये भी उसके वास्तविकता का भान था कि मैं कोई सबसे अच्छा नहीं हूं. तो ये भान स्वामी विवेकानंद भी कहते हैं उनके कमेंट्री में कि ये भान या ये जो एक विचार है, ये जो श्रद्धा है, वो हम हर एक में होनी चाहिए. मैंने शुरुआत में कुछ स्लाइड्स दिखाए थे. मुझे अभी आपको जो कठोपनिषद का मुख्य विचार है, उसकी जो कथा है और उसमें आने वाले जो मुख्य श्लोक है, उसके ऊपर मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. तो अभी स्लाइड्स का प्रयोजन नहीं है और एंड में वापस मैं आपको कुछ उदाहरण मैं आपको दिखाना चाहता हूँ जो इस पे बेस्ड है. तो अभी स्लाइड्स मैं नहीं दिखा रहा हूँ, मैं आपसे इसके बारे में विवेचन कर रहा हूँ. वापस जब तो मैं प्रेजेंटेशन आई विल स्टॉप प्रेजेंटिंग फॉर द टाइमिंग सो दैट यू कैन सी द स्क्रीन and then I will come back to sort of what we are talking. And then at the end I will again summarize with one of the ideas from the Kathopanishad and some of the major ideas, if possible, will take. So here he is telling I'm better than many people, I am inferior with respect to some people. So there is nothing which I cannot do. And here again there is a beautiful quote which I remember from Swami Vivekananda. And he says that if there is one word that you find coming like a bomb from Upanishads, bursting like a bombshell upon masses of ignorance, it is the word fearlessness, Abhihi. So this is the only religion or this is the only culture where God has been given a name Abhi. Abhi means fearless, Nirbhay. So that's why he says that from the Upanishad it comes like a bombshell on the masses of ignorance, that be fearless first of all. And the strength of mind and strength of body, Ashishto, Dradishto, Balishtaha. So that is the description in which he is talking about Nachiketa. How was Nachiketa? He was Ashishto, Dradishto, Balishtaha. And all the strength was with him, all the knowledge was him. Shotriya means he had read and understood all the scriptures. And yet he was akama, he was not having any desires. He was not attached to worldly things. So that is the description. To understand a way why he says, just give me 100 youths like Nachiketa and I will make India great again. The reason is that Ashishto, Dhrishto, Balishtaha and Vittasya Purnasyat. So सर्व पृथ्वी का पूरा वित्त उसके पास है, उसके पास सारी शारीरिक, मानसिक और बौद्धिक क्षमता है. और उसके बावजूद ये जो युवा है वो अभी ही है, वो निर्भय है, क्योंकि उसको कुछ पाना नहीं है, कुछ खोना नहीं है. वो कहता है तृण के जैसा जीवन है, उसमें क्या इतना सोचना, क्या कामना करना. और इसलिए यह कथा उसके थ्रू आगे जाती है. और स्वामी जी कहते हैं कि दिस इज द ओनली रिलीजन व्हिच हैज ऑट टू बी टॉट, दैट इज अ रिलीजन ऑफ फियरलेसनेस. आइदर इन दिस वर्ल्ड और इन द वर्ल्ड ऑफ रिलीजन, इट इज ट्रू दैट fear is the sure cause of degradation and sin. It is a fear that brings misery. It is a fear that brings death, fear that breeds evil. So ये कठोपनिषद की शुरुआत में एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात है अभी की निर्भयता की, कि ना इस जगत में, ना दूसरे जगत में, ना अध्यात्म में, ना भौतिक विषय में कहीं भी जो डर है या भय है, वही सारे समस्याओं की जड़ है. डर से दुख होता है, डर से हमारी सारी हम कह सकते हैं मृत्यु जैसा हमारी यातना होती है हमें. और उससे ही जो हम जग में जो एविल या जिसको हम कहते हैं इस जगत में गलत चीजें हैं, बुरी चीजें हैं, तो आप देखेंगे बुरे लोग भी जब बुराई करते हैं तो उसके पीछे कहीं डर होता है। तो कठोपनिषद का बहुत ही जो आरंभ का ही भाग है उसमें नचिकेता ने ये विचार हमें दिया है कि निर्भयता होना, अभी ही होना, यही विचार था जिसके वजह से उसने अपने पिताजी को बताया कि कोई बात नहीं है, मैं जाता हूँ और मैं वहां उसको जाके पूछता हूँ आगे की, हम उससे सुनेंगे क्या है। और फिर पिताजी ने कई बार कहा कि नहीं, ये इतना तुम कैसे गंभीर से मत लो, मैंने ऐसे ही कहा था, आई वाज नॉट वेरी, I just out of my anger I told you, but then he said I am going there with ananda, I am going it with happiness, don't worry about it. And he went there, and when he went to the story says when he went to the place of Yama, he had to wait there because Yama had gone out for some work. Of course, his work we know to bring people who are dead. And 3 days, 3 nights, Nachiketa was waiting there without food. And then when Yam came back, he saw that somebody is waiting there. And as per our tradition, atithi or a person who is a guest, जो भी हमारा अतिथि है हमारे पास आया है, तो अगर वो भूखा है और हमारी वजह से उसको वहां रहना पड़ा, कुछ उसे सुविधा नहीं मिली, खाना नहीं मिला, तो ये यजमान के लिए बहुत ही अच्छी बात नहीं है। ये दिस इज कंसिडर्ड एज अ वेरी बैड थिंग दैट somebody did not get 3 days of food because of me, because I was not there. So Yama comes back and he says, I'm the god of the death. Why you're here? Because generally people run away from me. Nobody comes to me. Even if I bring people, people try to run away from me. So, that's fear of death. Today you see all around in the pandemic, what is a common thing running through the entire world today is this fear that something will happen to me, something will happen to me. And you'll often see that when more and more people get fearful of what will happen to them, actually something will happen to them. Because what you think, so the things are slowly going to unfold in your life. So that's why he says that, what do you want? People generally run away from me and you are waiting here. So I can give you some boons. So you ask whatever, you want, you ask me. And Nachiketa asked the first word or the first boon he asked is, my father is not in a good state of his mind. And he let him become Prasanna Hriday and Vigata Krodha and Shanta Chitta. So beautifully 3 Sanskrit words he's saying that let his Chitta get Shanta, that means let him get calm and quiet, and let his Vigata Krodha, his anger go. So you just see the person who has sent him to this very difficult situation, he's first trying to rescue him from that papa or the bad action what he did. And let him be Prasanna Hriday, because ultimately he's my father, and no matter what he has talked to me or done, but he needs to be getting all the good things in life. So Yama obviously says that good that you have asked this. I am very happy with your way you are asking, and this is given. And then next he says that there is a level of consciousness, and generally people call it heaven or swarga or whatever different names are given to that. But there there is no old age there is no disease there, and there is no kshuddha and trusha, there is no you can say hunger there. So and there you can get the all the happiness. So tell me, what is the knowledge to reach that stage of consciousness, or how to reach that heaven? What we call as heaven and all is a state of being, or the state of existence. That loka, the different lokas are you can say डिस्कस्ड इन अवर स्क्रिप्चर्स. तो वहां कैसे जाना है जहां पे बुढ़ापा नहीं है, जहां पे कोई मुझे व्याधि नहीं होगी और सब प्रकार का आनंद मिलेगा, इस प्रकार का कोई जगत है, कोई लोक है, तो वहां कैसे जाना है, जिसको कुछ लोग स्वर्ग बोलते हैं. तो वो बोला कि ये बहुत ही, और उसे जाने के लिए कौन सा अग्नि या कौन से यज्ञ वगैरह ऐसा कुछ वो पूछते रहते, वो भी ठीक है. उसके बारे में भी बोला कि ये जो अग्नि है जिसके वजह से आप वहां जा सके, अग्नि का मतलब है तपस है, ये जो ऑस्टिरिटी है, ये जो एक साधना है, वो आज से नचिकेत के नाम से ही जानी जाएगी, और इसका ज्ञान मैं आपको दूंगा और उससे आपको आत्मरूप का दर्शन हो जाएगा. वो सब उसको वो भी दे दिया. अभी जो तीसरा वर्ड नचिकेत ने पूछा है, द थर्ड boon which he is asking is very important for this entire Upanishad. And there he says that some people say that after death there is life, some people say after death there is no life, some people say there is a atma or the soul which continues to be there after death, and some say there is no soul at all. And there is a lot of things people had doubt about whether the Atman is there, the soul is there or not. So please allow me to know how to get this knowledge of Atman, how to go beyond the death that is beyond you, and how I can get that eternity which I am looking for. So there, the Yama gets suddenly on his toes, or he gets suddenly careful about what now I should give, and he says that this is one I cannot give, because this is so such a deep, you can say, mystery, and I'm not supposed to reveal that to anybody or everybody. So kindly just let me tell you very politely, बहुत ही अच्छे शब्दों में बोलता है कि आप दूसरा कुछ मांग लो, लेकिन ये जो है वो बताना मुश्किल है कि मेरे आगे क्या है और कैसे मेरे परे जा सकते हैं। ये मैंने बताया तो फिर मेरा काम क्या हो गया, तो इसलिए ये मैं नहीं बताऊंगा, आप बाकी कुछ पूछ लो। और उसमें हमने देखा है कि वो किस प्रकार से उसको अलग अलग प्रलोभन देता है। तो यम उसको कहते हैं कि मैं तुम्हें बहुत सारे पशु दूंगा, तू सैकड़ों वर्ष तू जिएगा, शतायुषी हो जाएगा, पूरे पृथ्वी का राज्य दे दूंगा, सारा सुवर्ण और सब अलंकार दे दूंगा, और तुझे जो चाहिए वो मांग ले, तुझे जो चाहिए इस दुनिया में, जो भोग उस आपको भोगना है, हर चीज में तुम्हें दे दूंगा, तो सुखी रहो। 2 वर तो दे दिए, ये तीसरा वर भी ले लो और सुखी रहो और यहाँ से जाओ अभी। इस प्रकार से उसको वो टालने की कोशिश करता है। बट डोंट आस्क मी अबाउट आत्मज्ञान, डोंट आस्क मी दिस वेरी डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ गोइंग बियॉन्ड डेथ एंड गेटिंग दैट इटर्निटी, immortality, and knowledge of Brahman and Atman. So please don't ask that. And then Nachiketa is again, you can say, unperturbed. वो जरा भी उसमें बदलने के लिए तैयार नहीं है अपना विचार। तो वो कहता है कि ये सब चीज मिलने से क्या मुझे शाश्वत सुख मिलेगा, क्या मुझे वो सब मिलेगा जो मैं चाहता हूँ, और अगर वो सब नहीं मिलेगा तो फिर ये इसका क्या है। मैं घर में भी मेरे पिताजी से बात करके आया हूँ कि ये तृणवत है, इसका कोई महत्व नहीं है, मुझे वो चाहिए जो क्षणिक नहीं है। तो that which is not immediate, that which is not, you can say, perishable, that is always has been the quest of Indian people, that give me that which is lasting, like Dhruva said in his famous story, that give me that place from which nobody will tell me to get up. Similarly, Nachiketa, is same way he's asking here, that give me that which is not going to be destroyed. Otherwise, what is use of giving so many things if tomorrow they are going to get destroyed? And therefore, there comes the very beautiful first and the very foremost, you can say, thought of Kathopanishad, where he says that there is Shreyas and there is Preyas, or there is Shreya and Preya. I think that is a very fundamental, you can say, idea in this narration. And the shlok says that, the way it is said that Shreya is different and Preya is different. And Tayo Shreya Ada Danasya Sadhu Bhavati Hiyate Thartayu Preyo Grunite. That Sanskrit goes. And the third shlok also is talking of Shreyas Preyas, where he says Shreyascha Preyascha Manushya Metaha Tau Samparitya Vivinakti Dhiraha Shreyo hi dhiro bhi Preyaso Grunite Preyo Mando Yogakshemat Grunite. Like that, these 2 or 3 shlokas are starting with the whole idea of difference between Shreya and Preya. So this is when somebody asks what are the fundamental ideas of Kathopanishad, then you can easily say that after that story of Yama and Nachiketa, one of the most prominent idea with which starts is there is a Shreya in everybody's life and there is a Preya. Now, what is a Shreya and Preya? We'll try to understand it in the, yes, shlokas can be given afterwards. So this mantra 2 and 3 in the Kathopanishad, as I said, there are 3 sections. So this is a very starting of this Yama Nachiketa Samvada. And that's why this is one of very fundamental idea of there is a Shreya is different and Preya is different for everybody. Now, what is that? Let us try to understand simpler words. It means that Preya is that which is Priya, or that which is Sukhavah. जो चीजें हमें प्रिय होती है, सुखावह होती है, जिससे हमें आनंद मिलता है, सुख मिलता है, उसे हम प्रिय कहते हैं। और जिस चीज से हमारा कल्याण होने वाला है, जिसके वजह से हमें एक अंतिमता जो हमारा आनंद है वो मिलने वाला है, अंतिमता जो हमारे लिए श्रेयस करना, इससे वो मराठी में या हिंदी में शब्द आया है कि काय श्रेयस्कर आहे, व्हाट इज श्रेयस्कर फॉर यू. So that word has come from this particular Shreya idea, that it may not be सुखावह, it may not be giving you pleasure. आज उसका सुख नहीं मिलेगा, शायद वो करने से आज आपको बहुत ज्यादा आनंद नहीं मिलेगा, हो सकता है कष्ट भी हो उसमें, लेकिन वो मेरे लिए श्रेय है या वो मेरे लिए कल्याणप्रद है या वो मेरा अंतिम लक्ष्य या मेरे लिए गंतव्य वो है। तो ये दोनों में फर्क करना कि जो ज्ञानी लोग है उसको उत्तर देते हुए कहता है कि ज्ञानी लोगों को समझ में आता है कि श्रेय के पीछे जाना है और प्रिय के पीछे नहीं जाना है, और अज्ञानी लोग पूरे जीवन भर प्रिय का पीछा करता रहते हैं, लेकिन प्रिय कभी भी मिलता नहीं है क्योंकि वो हमेशा ही क्षणिक होता है, तो कुछ मिलता है और कुछ जाते रहता है। तो इस प्रकार से जब परमार्थ, जिसे हम कहते हैं अध्यात्म कहते हैं, परमार्थ मतलब क्या है, ये जो परम अर्थ है जीवन का, जो अल्टीमेट ट्रूथ है, that has to be sought by discussing about what is Shreya for me. So every part of our life, every moment of life rather, there has to be a choice made between Shreya and Priya. It's a very beautiful concept that हर जीवन के हर क्षण में ये संघर्ष होता है हमारे मन में, जैसे तुकाराम महाराज कहते हैं कि रात्रंदिना महद युद्धाचा प्रसंग. So what is that yuddha? This yuddha is between Shreya and Priya. That there is something which is desirous, which is very attractive, which is giving me immediate pleasure. It looks very good. It sounds very good. It tastes very wonderful, and it's. But then ultimately it will result in something wrong. So should I go for that, or should I get a choice of something which is right now not looking that good? It is not sounding that good, not tasting or touching to that great thing. But then at the end of it, I know that this is going to be my path for my ultimate well-being, my real welfare, my nishreyasa. Because in most of the Upanishad, there is a concept of abhyudaya and nishreyasa. That means the emancipation at the spiritual world is nishreyasa, and welfare or the growth in this material world is the abhyudaya. So prayer may be better for the immediate things which are there in life, but even for abhyudaya, even for the growth in the material world, in this ahik world also, you need to have some austerity, you need to have, forsaking some of the pleasures, and then constantly having your mind fixed on that vision of your life and going for that ultimate reality. And for that, these small ideas which are connected with body, the deha buddhi, or the concepts which are coming through the body and then again getting out of it, they need to be sort of taken out from our priority. So it's very important that we set our values. जीवन में क्या मूल्य है और उन मूल्यों का हम कह सकते हैं कि क्या उसकी सारणी है, मतलब सबसे बड़ा मूल्य हमारे लिए क्या है, उसके पीछे मूल्य क्या है, उसके नीचे क्या है. ये एक अनकॉन्शियस हो सकता है, लेकिन हमारे मन में क्लैरिटी होनी चाहिए कि ये मेरे लिए बड़ा मूल्य है, उसके लिए मैं इस छोटे मूल्यों का या छोटी चीजों का मैं त्याग करूंगा. जैसे बहुत सिंपल एग्जांपल दिया, तो मुझे पता है कि मेरी तबीयत है उसमें हमेशा खांसी होती है. बहुत एक साधारण उदाहरण दे रहा हूँ ये पॉइंट क्लियर करने के लिए. और मुझे समझता है, वो मुझे पता है कि मेरे लिए ठंडा खाना अच्छा नहीं है, मेरे लिए बहुत ठंडी चीजें जैसे कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स हो या आइसक्रीम हो मेरे लिए खाना अच्छी नहीं है, क्योंकि ये मेरे लिए प्रिय है, ये मेरा प्रिय है, उसे मुझे अच्छा लगता है, उसका टेस्ट अच्छा है, उसे मुझे तात्कालिक रूप से टेम्पररीली मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है, लेकिन ये श्रेय नहीं है, क्योंकि मेरे आज के आरोग्य के लिए भी वो अच्छा नहीं है, मेरे जो अंतिम मेरा गंतव्य है उसके लिए भी वो ठीक नहीं है. मतलब मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि उपनिषद कहते हैं कि सारे छोटे छोटे सुखों का भी आप मुंह फेर लो और बहुत ही लंबा मुंह करके हमेशा गंभीर रहो, ये बात नहीं है. लेकिन उसकी लेवल या उसका जो महत्व है उसको समझना जरूरी है कि ठीक है, मैंने आज वो भी कर भी लिया, लेकिन मेरे मन में वो ठीक, मुझे पता है कि इसका मूल्य बहुत, मेरे पूर्ण मूल्य में इसका मूल्य छोटा है, इसका एक टेम्परेरी एक मोमेंटरी प्लेजर मुझे मिल गया आज के दिन के लिए. वो बहुत सारे लोग आए थे, उनके साथ मैंने ये छोटा सा एक क्षण मैंने व्यतीत किया, आनंद ले लिया. हमेशा सबसे अलग जाके कुछ दूसरा करना भी जरूरी नहीं है. जैसे हम कहते हैं कि कुछ अलग मत करो, सबके जैसे ही रहो, लेकिन उसमें ये निरंतर आपके मन में ये भाव जागृत रखो कि ये प्रिय था, ये मेरा श्रेय नहीं था. श्रेय तो अलग है, और श्रेय के लिए ही मैं जा रहा हूँ. आज हमेशा मुझे लोगों का विरोध नहीं करना है या खुद को बहुत बड़ा नहीं बताना है. तो अध्यात्म विद्या या हमारे विद्या में सबसे बड़ी बात है कि कुछ लोगों के सामने प्रदर्शन मत करो उसका, वो अपने मन में, लेकिन उसकी जागरूकता रखो कि ये मेरा प्रिय था, ये मेरा श्रेय था. आज मैंने ये किया, लेकिन मुझे पता है मेरे दिन में जो मेरा दिनचर्या है उसमें मेरा श्रेय इतना ही था, बाकी सारा हमारा प्रिय के पीछे मैं दौड़ता रहा. तो ये जब भाव मन में बहुत क्लियर होता है कि मैंने क्या किया आज, उसमें से मैं श्रेय के पीछे कितना लग सका और प्रिय के पीछे कितना भागा, सो प्रिय के पीछे भागते भागते मैंने कुछ मेरे खाने में, मेरे व्यवहार में, मेरे यहाँ वहां जाने में, या मेरे सारा जो मतलब आज के समाज में जो धन प्राप्ति का या पैसे का जो महत्व है, ये प्रिय के पीछे जाने से आए। क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं ये कैसी धारणा है कि अगर इसके पीछे मैं गया तो मुझे सारे सुख मिलेंगे, और ये जब सुख मिलेंगे तो मुझे आनंद मिलेगा। अल्टीमेटली वो होता नहीं है, क्योंकि इसमें वो नहीं है जो मेरा गंतव्य है। तो उस ये सारी चीजें जब आती है तो उसमें अविद्या होती है, ये इग्नोरेंस होता है। इसलिए कठोपनिषद का आगे का श्लोक है, उसमें बहुत सुंदर है कि जो इसमें घूमते रहते हैं, इसी तात्कालिक चीजों में, इमीडिएट चीजों में। आई मीन देयर इज अ वेरी ब्यूटीफुल कोट दैट द होल वर्ल्ड टुडे इज इन द ऑक्टोपस ग्रिप ऑफ इमीडिएट, वी आर नॉट एबल टू गो बियॉन्ड इमीडिएट। सो ये अविद्या है। एंड इसमें जो रहते हैं वो खुद को बहुत होशियार या पंडित भी समझते हैं। सो स्वयं धीरा पंडितम मन्य माना, ऐसा एक श्लोक है। और ये लोग कैसे होते हैं, तो कठोपनिषद बहुत ही कठोर शब्दों में कहता है कि दे आर लाइक अंधे नैव नियमाना यथांधा। तो जैसे एक अंधा आदमी दूसरे अंधे आदमी को राह दिखाता है, वैसे आज दुनिया चल रही है कि वो खुद ही अंधा है, वो खुद ही उसको कुछ पता नहीं है कैसे क्या श्रेय, क्या प्रिय, या क्या आत्मा है, क्या अनात्मा है, कुछ पता नहीं है। लेकिन वो खुद को पंडित मानकर खुद के अंधेपन को न समझकर दूसरे अंधे को आगे लेके जा रहा है। तो ये पूरी दुनिया ऐसे अंधे नैव नियमना यथांधा, मतलब एक अंधा दूसरे को अंधा और बना रहा है, इस प्रकार से जा रही है। ये बहुत ही कठोर लेकिन बहुत ही सुंदर शब्दों में कठोपनिषद में वो श्लोक आता है। और जैसा आप आगे आगे जाएंगे आप समझेंगे कि यम का जो ये सारा नचिकेत यम का संवाद है, वो क्यों इतना आज भी इतना बहुत सुंदर संवाद, और या कई सारे, जैसा मैंने कहा, कई सारे क्षेत्रों के लोग आज भी उसका अभ्यास क्यों करते हैं। कुछ छोटे उदाहरण मैं दूंगा, क्योंकि पूरा कठोपनिषद बहुत बड़ा है, उसमें कई सारे विवरण आ रहे हैं। लेकिन ये है उसका आत्मबुद्धि का आविष्कार, ये है उसका श्रेय के पीछे पूरा जीवन लगा देना, एक साधना की तरह तपस करना, ये उसका। और आत्मज्ञान होने की हमें सद्बुद्धि हो, तो ये उसे कहा जाता है कि कई प्रकार से मेरे पास ये अभी विचार आ रहा है कि मुझे अनन्य प्रप्तो गतिरन्य नास्ति, दैट मीन्स उसके बिना और कुछ है ही नहीं। लेकिन सामान्य जो व्यक्ति है उसको बुद्धि से उसको समझ में नहीं आता है, उसको विचारों से वो समझ में नहीं आता है। और इसलिए जो आत्मज्ञानी पुरुष है उससे उसके पास जाके, उसके उपनिषद मतलब उसके पास बैठ के उसके साथ वो समझ के हमें आगे जाके उसको अपने जीवन में लाना है। सो दैट्स व्हाई अनन्य प्रोक्तो गतिरत्र नास्ति, उसके बिना दूसरा कुछ गति ही नहीं है। आज नहीं तो कल कहीं ना कहीं आपको इसी रास्ते पर आना है, तो क्यों ना जल्दी आ जाए, इस प्रकार का विचार उसमें रखा है। और एक बहुत सुंदर कुछ श्लोक है जो मुझे खुद को बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं, उसमें से कुछ मैं विवरण कर रहा हूँ। जैसे 10वां श्लोक है, उसमें आता है कि नैषा तर्केण मतिरापनीय, कि आत्मा का जो ज्ञान है, इफ यू वांट टू लर्न अबाउट दिस इटर्निटी और द मॉर्टैलिटी एंड द आत्मन, देन that is not possible through pure logic, or that is not possible through the intellect. I think that's one of the grand ideas from the Kathopanishad, that Naisha Tarkena Matirapaniya, because this entire civilization today has given too much of importance to intellect and the reason. So all our systems are based on the manifestation of somebody's intellect, and we are trying to understand through our intellects. But Upanishad is very emphatic. It is very clear in its narration that Naisha Tarkena, it is not possible. It is not possible to go to the ultimate understanding purely by your intellect, purely by your buddhi or your tarka, what is called as the your analysis or your logic or your deduction of the things. You can never understand the actual thing. The truth will still remain away from you. And what is the way then? Then it is said that for that, then you have to make your buddhi or your this intellect has to be purified. It has to be clarified from all those attachments or all those, you can say, coverings which it has got. एंड बुद्धि है वो हमारी पूरी तरह से एक प्रकार से जो हमारे उसके नीचे के कॉन्शियसनेस के लेवल है, जिसको हम लोग इंग्लिश में जो श्री अरबिंदो बोलते समय उसको वाइटल इस शब्द का यूज करते हैं, कि उसके जो हमारी प्राण शक्ति या उसके नीचे के हमारे सारे जो षड्रिपु है उसके अंदर वो बुद्धि अटक गई है। तो एक उपनिषद में ये भी लिखा गया है कि किस प्रकार से इस तर्क को ये सारे इच्छा आकांक्षाओं से मुक्त करके उसको शुद्ध बुद्धि करना है। तो शुद्ध बुद्धि या जो सूक्ष्म बुद्धि होती है उसी से हमें ये ज्ञान मिल सकता है, लेकिन जिसे हम आज बुद्धि कहते हैं उससे ये ज्ञान कभी नहीं मिल सकता। और इस प्रकार से वो आगे निकलते ये बहुत ही विवरण बहुत सुंदर है, बहुत सारे I think a lot of hours can be talked about that, not just 1 hour, but many hours. In that upasana comes the how the Atmajnan should be taken, should comes, and then the Om, again, as many Upanishads have talked about it, the idea of Atma and the reaching there through the Omkar and all that all comes. And then some of the fundamental ideas behind Bhagavad Gita. I mean, many of the things from Bhagavad Gita are actually from Kathopanishad. So, like for example, that very famous shlok from Bhagavad Gita is based on this: the Najayate Mriyate va Vipaschit. That means this Atma is never getting destroyed; it can never be created, it will never have death, and it never gets birth also. So this idea actually has come in Bhagavad Gita also, that it cannot be killed, it cannot be cut by the sword, it cannot be burned by the fire. But the whole basis of Bhagavad Gita का अगर मूल देखेंगे आप तो कठोपनिषद है, और इसलिए ये उपनिषद बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है. बहुत सारी कल्पना है. भगवद गीता तो सारे उपनिषदों का सार है, लेकिन उसमें भी कठोपनिषद का भाग आप देखेंगे, उसका जो दर्शन है, पहले दूसरे तीसरे अध्याय का जो दर्शन है, उसमें कई सारे कठोपनिषद की कल्पना आई है. और उसमें जैसे और एक बहुत सुंदर है कि इसे ना कोई मार सका है. अगर कोई समझता है कि मैं आपको मार रहा हूं और कोई समझ रहा है कि मैं मर रहा हूं, तो दोनों को ज्ञान नहीं है कि ना आत्मा मरता है ना वो जन्म लेता है. उस प्रकार का सारा वो विचार जो गीता के अध्याय में वो यहाँ से आया है. और एक बहुत सुंदर श्लोक है जो बाद में कई सारे संतों ने भी उसका अपने अपने अभंगों में या अपने अपने वाणी में उसका पुनरुच्चार किया. वो श्लोक कठोपनिषद का है कि अणोरणीयान महतो महियान. That's one of the ultimate ideas from Kathopanishad, that how it is Anoraniyan, it is smaller than even the Anu or the atom, and Mahato Mahiyan, it is even larger than the largest possible thing in the universe. So such is that Atma, and therefore, and it is there in the heart of everybody. It's like a small flame, Angushta Matram. That also one of the shlok comes in Kathopanishad. That's the size of the thumb, and that size of the thumb, it tries to, always tell you from inside that this is the truth and this is not the truth. This is the Shreya and this is not the Shreya. This is the prayer. So somebody inside is always telling you that flame or that internal, you can say innermost light inside you is that Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. What is the smallest of the smallest in the world and what is the largest of the largest, both are actually same. So that shlok is the 21st shlok, Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. And I mean, beautiful. I have no words to tell how beautifully different ideas are narrated in this particular Samvad of Yama and Nachiketa. And there another shlok which is very, very famous is Naya Atma Parvachanena Labhyo, Na Medhaya Bahuna Shrutena. Like that he said. That means this knowledge of this great immortality and eternity and the Atman or soul, what we talk, knowledge of self, is not possible through just teaching, not by pravachana. It is not possible through intellect. It is also not possible by a lot of learning. The one who actually does this tapas, then only he will understand. That's why this shlok is also very famous. Nayamatma pravachana labhya. That means it is not possible just by understanding, by listening, and just by talking about it. But it is something much beyond. Another very important shlok, like initially when I showed you the slide, I showed you that concept also. You just briefly again I put that slide. But anyway, I can tell others orally. I will tell at the end. We can see that Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi, Shariram Rathamevatu, Buddhim tu Sarathim Vidhi, Manapragrahamevacha. This is another shloka from Kathopanishad. Very beautiful shlok, where our entire human beings are compared with the chariot. And what is it said? That your body is like a chariot, and the Atman or the self is the one who is sitting in that chariot, and our buddhi or our intellect is Sarathi. So that buddhi is trying to drive this chariot, and how it can drive it, because it has got sort of our indriya or our organs of knowledge and organs of action, Panchendriya and Panchadhyanindriya, Panchakarmendriya. They are all the horses which are there. So it's a beautiful visual image has been created. Imagine that there are horses which are our indriyas, Karmendriya, Jnanindriya, and there is a Sarathi who is our intellect, who is trying to hold the rein of them, control them. And this all horses are trying to go in thousands of directions, because all the external objects and all, they are luring them to go in diverse directions. So if a chariot has to move forward and reach its destination and fight the battle of the life, and this life as well as beyond life, then the Sarathi or the Buddhi has to take the hold of this entire diversely running horses in the directions of their Vishayas, and then control them in some central idea and try to drive them. And that's how the Atman who is sitting behind will be actually intending. He will constantly be guiding that this is how the thing should be. So this simile of Ratha and the chariot ultimately became the source of the famous, the whole idea of Kurukshetra, where Arjuna and Krishna, the Krishna is the Sarathi of Arjuna. और कृष्ण अर्जुन की जो ये एक बहुत ही बड़ी उसके पीछे एक हम कह सकते हैं कि महत्व उसका, ये कठोपनिषद के रथ के जो माध्यम है वहां से वो आया है। और ये कई सारे कह सकते हैं, जैसा और एक गीता में विवरण आया है कि उसमें एक हायरार्की दी है कि इंद्रियाणि पराण्याहु इंद्रियभ्यु परम मना मनसस्तु परा बुद्धि यो बुद्धि परतस्तु सहा। ये जो एक क्या कहते हैं उसको, एक हायरार्किकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, वो भी कठोपनिषद के श्लोक को हम लोग उसके पीछे देख सकते हैं। 35वां श्लोक है, उसमें इंद्रियभ्यम परम ह्यर्था ऐसे प्रकार का है, मैं भी पूरा नहीं पढ़ रहा हूँ, लेकिन मनसस्तु परा बुद्धि बुद्धिरात्मा महान पर, मतलब एग्जैक्टली यू कैन से आइडिया ऑफ पहले क्या आता है, पहले विषय आते हैं, उसके बाद इंद्रिय आते हैं, इंद्रियों के बाद उसको जो उसके सारी जो रस्सियां हैं जो उसको लगाम के जैसे खींच रही है, वो हमारा मन आता है। लेकिन वो मन को भी कोई किसी को कंट्रोल करना है तो वो मन के ऊपर बुद्धि आती है, और बुद्धि के ऊपर जो आता है वो है हमारा वास्तव रूप, वो हमारा आत्मा है। तो ये इस प्रकार से हम कहेंगे कि कठोपनिषद एक रत्न सागर है जिसमें कई सारे ऐसी कल्पनाएं हैं जो बाद में हर अलग अलग ग्रंथों का भी विषय बन गई। एक कोई भगवत गीता में किसी ने ले लिया, किसी ने और कुछ उपनिषदों में ले लिया, किसी ने कई सारे बाद में जो शास्त्र बनाए गए उसमें उसके उल्लेख आ गए। और गूढ़ोत्मा न प्रकाशते, इस प्रकार से सारे जीवों के अंदर है लेकिन बहुत गूढ़ है, बहुत ही गुप्त है। और जब हम एकाग्र हो जाएंगे, जब हम हमारी बुद्धि शुद्ध करेंगे, उसको एक ही तानता से वन पॉइंटेड जब हम लोग उसको अपनी इंटेलेक्ट को बनाएंगे, तब हम कहीं जाके उसके नजदीक पहुंच सकते हैं। जिसका स्वामी विवेकानंद बहुत बार उसका उल्लेख करते हैं, अराइज अवेक एंड स्टॉप नॉट टिल द गोल इज रीच। आपने वो शायद कोटेशन पढ़ा भी रहेगा। तो ये अराइज अवेक कहाँ से आया है, उनको कहाँ से ये प्रेरणा थी, अराइज अवेक एंड स्टॉप नॉट टिल द गोल इज रीच, ये कठोपनिषद का श्लोक है। और कठोपनिषद में एक बहुत सुंदर श्लोक है, उत्तिष्ठत जागृत प्राप्य वरान निबोधत क्षुरस्य धारा निषिदा दुरत्यया दुर्गम पथस्तत् कवयो वदन्ति। सो आई थिंक one of the best thing which can be written by any human being ever is something which has come in this shloka, that the shlok says uttishtata jagrata, that is get up, get going, arise, awake, and get out of this delusion, out of this ignorance, this darkness, and go to that destiny which you are actually been born for. Go to that vision or the sight which is supposed to be your idea. And for that, go to the people who have got this knowledge, go to those people, learn from them, practice it, make it in your life as a part of your life. And then the next line is very important. It says, Shurasya dhara nishida dudatyaya. That means, like it's like a razor blade. किसी तलवार का जैसे एक कहते हैं ना, उसका जैसा धार होती है उसकी, इस प्रकार से जीवन है। और जीवन क्या है, इस प्रकार से it's like a walking on the razor's edge. Or it has sort of so many things are very difficult to walk upon, because if you don't keep the balance, you're going to fall on either side of the extreme. So Shurasya dhara nishida durta, very difficult to walk on this edge of a sword or edge of a knife, but that is what you are going to do, that is what you are supposed to do, and it is durgama pathastat, it is very difficult path, but that is a path which all of us are supposed to take. And that is the shlok which another one very beautiful shlok. Or paranchi khani vetruna swayambhu tasmat paran, that also comes from, that idea again is from Kathopanishad, that all the people in the world are looking outside. Paranchi khani, they are all looking outside, all our indriyas are also looking outside, all 10 places they are trying to see the things. And then there is Kashchit Dhira, there is a very rare hero, very, you can say, exceptional person who is able to do the Avrutta Chakshu. The shlok says that he is able to look inside himself or inside herself, and there he finds that, okay, this is the path. Actually, I was all the time I was searching in a wrong direction. So when I started looking inside, very difficult actually to turn that gaze inside. I was mentioning just before some time Shurasya Dhara, and look at the impact which Upanishad or the Kathopanishad and all these Upanishads have got on the world literature. You must be knowing one of the great English novelist, Somerset Maugham, who has written so many beautiful books. And one of the book he has raised, the name of the book itself is Walking on the Razor's Edge. And in the the start of the book itself, he mentions that why the title of the book is given as Walking on the Razor's Edge, because I have drawn the inspiration from Kathopanishad, where Kshurasya Dhara, this idea has come. Life is like walking on the razor's edge. So Somerset Maugham, far away from India, Max Muller, and all these great scholars all over the world. Even today, many people are quoting from this in their own languages. The reason is these ideas, as I said, are so fundamental, so eternal, and still so piercing that we need solutions for this, and that solutions are given. And when he turns inside, then he gets that knowledge, like that it has come. So I think, I mean, there are so many things can be talked about Kathopanishad, because as I said, one of the major Upanishad it is. And as I mentioned, Angushta Matram Purusho, that comes in one of the shlokas here. And then Na Pranena Napanena Martyo Jivati Kasyana. That is also a beautiful idea. Yes, there is a loka where, there is a place where even the sun and the moon and the stars and the thunderbolts also are not able to illuminate that particular thing. So is there something which even the sun cannot illuminate, or the stars cannot illuminate, or which cannot be lit by even the thunderbolt? Is there something? Yes, that is the world where I want to go. So that is another beautiful idea, very lofty idea. Na tatra suryo bharati, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyuto bhati. Like that shloka proceeds. So what we can understand, I mean, go on getting, I forgot one of the very important idea from Kathopanishad, that is the Ashwatthas idea. So that is one of the shlok where we say that Urdhva Mulo Vashak Esho Ashwatha Sanatanam Tadeva Shukram Tada Brahmam Tadeva Amrutam Uchyate. So Kathopanishad has given this fundamental idea of Ashwatha, that there is an inverted tree of samsara which has got the branches below and the roots are in the infinite above. And needless to tell, those who have, some of you must have read Bhagavad Gita, so this exactly the same idea of Ashwatha has come in the 15th chapter. The 15th chapter of Gita opens with this idea only. So Urdhva Mulo Vashak Esho Ashwatha Sanatana is actually an idea from the Upanishad, and specifically it is an idea from Kathopanishad. So you can imagine the importance of this particular Upanishad, because some of the best ideas which afterwards were repeated in many scriptures of India, they can be seen originated from this particular scripture. So a lot of things are there, but I think I have at least given an overview of it. I could give some part of it, and one of the most beautiful, you can say, Upanishad. And I was telling you, this is what we had. So maybe some questions we can take, but just a quote. I'm again, quote, as I said, I'm giving from the possible from one of the source, and then I will stop for today. And then question answers probably can be taken for some more time. But this is a quote I'm just very quickly telling, and it is from Swami. Beautiful book I recommend to you called as Message of the Upanishads. And there he quotes one of the lecture of Swami Vivekananda, that his lecture Vedanta and its application to Indian life. It comes in the 3rd volume of Complete Works. He says, strength is what the Upanishad speaks to me from every page. This is the one thing to be remembered, and this is a great reason, one great reason I have been taught in my life. And it tells everyone that not to be weak. Are there no human weaknesses? Says the man. There are. But to say the Upanishad, but will more weaknesses heal them? Would you try to wash dirt with the dirt? Will sin cure sin? Weakness cure weakness? And therefore, the fearlessness, now he is mentioning the exact Abhi part from the Kathopanishad. And he further tells about how, the quote is a bit long. But what I wanted to tell here is that even the some of these famous speeches which Swami Vivekananda has given in his Colombo to Almora, you will find that very often he has been quoting the Kathopanishad or the many other Upanishads. So this was what my small summarization of the whole thing was. And if there are some questions, we can quickly take some questions.
Namaste, sir.
Message, 1 minute. I'm just reading few which are already posted. just 1 minute. Message of the Upanishad book is by whom? It is written by Swami Ranganathan, who is from Ramakrishna Mission. Very beautiful book. I just now quoted from that. Best book for Kathopanishad, Shankar Bhashya is very good. The commentaries written by Sri Aurobindo are very good on Upanishads. He has written on some selective Upanishads. They are quite good. Apart from that, other people have also written.
No, sir, can I ask out now?
Yeah.
Sir, in the last you told, you explained about the Ashwath idea. Sir, who was Ashwath and what is Ashwath?
Ashwatha is a is a concept of a tree. It's an imaginary tree, the tree which is a symbolic tree of you can say this entire existence. The entire universe is considered as a tree. And it says what type of tree is this? Ashwatha is a tree which is an inverted tree. It has got, generally tree will have roots in the ground and the branches and leaves will be in the sky. So in our ancient text, this is a very important symbolic representation of the universe or the existence, where it says that this is an inverted tree. It means it has got the roots in the infinite sky or beyond the our present level of existence, and its branches and the leaves and the fruits and flowers are there down. Just inverted idea of the conventional tree. And then the further the shlok says that these branches are all our branches of knowledge, and each leaf is also like a book of knowledge or the Vedas, like that the idea goes.
Yes. Okay. Sir, one more doubt. Sir, when you were discussing the 10th slok of Kathopanishad, you were explaining that if you want to learn Atma Gyan, the Atman, then that cannot be learned by logic or your intellect. Then, sir, is there any medium so that we can learn Atma Gyan?
So what it says is, the meaning of it is intellect cannot take you to that last level, but intellect is definitely a very sure help to you to begin the process. Because if people are doing it without analysis or without even using the logic or intellect, they cannot even reach this first level also. That will be even worse than what otherwise is. So definitely you can say reason is the help and reason is the hindrance. That is a very famous idea. That means what? It is help for the beginning, to help in the process to understand these things. Reason is very helpful. We require reason to start the process, to start this whole understanding of the things. You can say the reason only can start our journey in this matter. From the ignorance we can be led by only buddhi. But to say that buddhi will take you to the end is a wrong idea. It can only go to a point. After that, now you have to develop other methods of knowledge. That's why I was telling you, ज्ञान के साधन या किस प्रकार से ज्ञान का ग्रहण करना है, इसके बारे में बहुत विचार किया गया था. तो बुद्धि के जो परे है ना, इसलिए मैंने अभी वो जो श्लोक कहा उसमें था यो बुद्धि परतस्तु सा, मतलब बुद्धि के जो परे है उसको बुद्धि से नहीं जाना जाता, लेकिन कम से कम वहां तक पहुंचने के लिए इंद्रियों से लेके मन से लेके आगे जाने के लिए कम से कम बुद्धि का उपयोग होना जरूरी है. To start and come to a very important stage where now the leap can be taken, the quantum leap can be taken to go beyond the intellect, and that will happen only when the intuitive knowledge is developed, or that is when the that avrutti chakshu, that vision of the looking at the subtle things and the sukshma buddhi comes. That time it will start.
Good morning, sir.
Sir, I have a question.
Good morning, sir.
What do you mean by Ano Brahmiyan Mahito Maniyar? That sloka, can you please expand on that, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mahiyan is a very, you can say, one of the very important ideas from Kathopanishad. And as I said, many other Indians have taken ideas from Kathopanishad. So this is one idea which has come many times. Anuraniyan means that which we are seeking as the Atman is said to be smaller than the smallest. How small it can go. So the idea of the smallest possible thing was Anu. And afterwards, of course, they have gone beyond Anu also. But the smallest of the smallest possible, anything which exists or is visible, if you go start breaking it into the pieces and pieces of the pieces, parts of the parts, ultimately what remains is something very, very small. And the comes the Anu and all. So what we are seeking is actually even smaller than that, more sukshma than that. That is the meaning of it. But at the same time, Mahato Mahiyan, that means it is also larger than the largest. It is not just, you can say smallest of it, but it is also the most largest thing is also same. In other words, in simpler words, it is said that somebody has to mute the voice. It is said.
I think they are asking to say in Hindi also.
Please Hindi also.
Acha.
Maximum are in Hindi.
हाँ जी.
Please Hindi.
हिंदी. तो अणुरणीयान मतलब जो सबसे छोटा है, छोटे से छोटा है, वो भी आत्मा है, और जो सबसे बड़े से बड़ा है, जो विश्व का सबसे बड़ी चीज है, वो भी उसके परे भी जो जा सकता है वो आत्मा है. जो सबसे छोटी चीज है, जिसको अणु कह सकते हैं, या अणु का भी छोटे छोटे भाग कह सकते हैं, उससे भी जो छोटा हो सकता है वो हम कहते हैं कि उसको भी आत्मा कहते हैं. सो इन अदर वर्ड्स, संक्षेप में कहा जाए तो वो ऐसी चीज है कि जो छोटे से छोटे कण में भी है. हम कहते हैं ना, कण कण में राम है, और विश्व के जो पीछे है सारे विश्व का नियंता है. तो यही वो कल्पना है जो बाद में हमारे ग्रंथों में आई, एक भगवान के रूप में आई. लेकिन वो जो आत्म स्वरूप है, आत्मा जो है वो बहुत छोटे से छोटे हर जीव में, हर तृण में, हर कण कण, मिट्टी के हर कण में भी है, और जो ब्रह्मांड के पीछे सारे ग्रह तारों को जो घुमा रहा है वो भी वो है. ये उसका मतलब है.
Good morning, sir.
During the lecture. So, sir, the first of that is, you just consider my main question is, if Atma has prarabdha, and prarabdha is made by karma, then don't you think that it is partial, that only humans are conscious enough to understand and are free to do karma, and are free to make that prarabdha? What do you think on this?
Yeah, that is the what you can say is the famous debate between either there is a freedom or the free will. That means how far people are sort of bound by the karma siddhanta and the prarabdha, and how much they are free to go to their मतलब कहाँ तक वो मुक्त है और कहाँ तक वो बद्ध है. ये जो फंडामेंटल कल्पना है हमारे ग्रंथों में कि प्रारब्ध का कहाँ तक जोर है और कहाँ तक हमारी स्वतंत्रता का हमें हो सकती है स्वतंत्रता, आत्म स्वातंत्र्य कितना है. ये एक दिस इज अ वेरी फंडामेंटल कंसेप्ट और कंपैरिजन व्हिच इज डन. सो ये दोनों सच है, क्योंकि कर्म के वजह से हमारे जो पहले कर्म थे, और पास्ट कर्मास हैव गिवन द बॉन्डेज व्हिच वी आर हैव टू लिव, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली वी हैव टू कंप्लीट दैट थिंग, एंड ओनली बाय those bhog, what we call as, only when we go through that cycle we'll be able to get out of those effects of those karmas, the past karmas I'm talking. But at the same time there is also a freedom of what can happen in future, because today's your karmas are in your hand. So if you are bound because there was something which is of your prarabdha and kriyaman and all which was in your past, the corollary of that, logical corollary, is that there is also something which will be able to free you by the same method, because today it is perfectly free. You are perfectly free to choose actions between Shreya and Priya, and that you can go to the path of liberation for future. So these two sort of opposite ideas are actually complementary to each other.
Okay,
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning, sir. This is Dr. Prithvibaji. How can we convince the youth without a logic behind eternity of soul, which you say? Because the keyword, can you please elaborate? Lots of youths are coming, and if we want to convince them, then how we can convince them without this logic? Because if we say that we don't have any kind of logic or a science behind it, then youth cannot be converted, because this is the main root cause. You say that youth should be converted into these things.
Well, I guess part of the youth, and I don't think that is I mean, I do believe in Upanishad, which is why I'm studying this right now.
I think sir should give the perfect answer. Sir, can you please elaborate and
No,
put light on it?
it's not. Wait. I'll try to explain that. First thing, Upanishads are not telling that you should avoid logic or you should be devoid of. In fact, it's so wonderfully intellectual and so wonderfully scientifically, you can say, analyzed. Every problem has been analyzed. That I mean, sometimes people get misnomer that these ideas are devoid of. It is rather not that. It is full of intellectual, you can say, arguments and beautifully. Means if somebody wants really to satisfy his buddhi, अगर बुद्धि का आनंद आपको लेना है, ज्ञान का आनंद लेना है, तो उपनिषदों से और कुछ बढ़कर नहीं है. तो आज के युवाओं को यही बात रोचती है, या उनको this is going to be helping us to take them to the youngsters or the new generation. Why scientific generation was attracted to Upanishads again? Why last 20-30 years there is so much of thinking of Upanishads? That is because the very reason is they are appealing to the intellect. They are not of some other granthas or other religions, Semitic religions, where things are only based on blind faith. Because prophet said it, so I should do it. There is no mention of such thing in any Upanishad, that because I think so it is like this. No, there is an argument, there is a question answering, there is a proper intellectual discussion between two great people, and that it is coming. Now only the confusion is, they are also telling them that as I just now before some time I said, the intellect is the help, the intellect also can be your bondage. So be careful that the whole idea is gone through this intellectual, the high level of intellect, very you can say very high level of discussion, which even scientific minds are finding attractive. But it also has given us the idea that let us not stop at this, because now you should raise your intellect to the purified intellect, which is not that. And then beyond that, there are higher levels of above intellect. Also, there are levels of understanding, which we just roughly called as intuition or sixth sense and all. So try to develop a higher level. That is the thing. So Yuva Varga, I think the youths will definitely like this type of thing. They like it when you.
Yes, certainly, because it's a contentment is there, but beautifully you explained, sir. And the one more last question is, watching insight to find reality connected with the same vipassana which Buddha has developed.
Yeah, all, not only vipassana or Buddhism, or I mean it's a very beautiful, because you raised this, I want to tell that Buddha Dharma or the Buddha Darshana is no way against Vedic or Upanishadic ideas. Somehow afterwards people try to brand like this, that Buddha has talked something not conducive to our ancient Upanishad. Not at all. In fact, if you look at the core of Buddha Dharma, which is called as Buddhism and all, but basic darshana, Buddha has not said that I'm following a new religion or something. He was against certain ideas which were there in that time, because they were more on the karma kanda side, or they were more on the, you can say, only external ideas of it. And then he restored that pristine glory of Upanishad or the Vedic idea, that one is not supposed to be कर्म करने में ही लिप्त होना नहीं है, कर्म के पीछे जो ज्ञान है या जो उसको समझने की आवश्यकता है वो ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. इसलिए if you see Buddha Darshana is tremendously intellectual. Many people are only trying to understand it as a compassion and this and that, humanitarian, which is good. But the amount of, you can say, psychological thought which is detailed in it, but again it is completely based on Upanishads, because nothing is beyond that. So, but he elaborated that, his all disciples have worked very extensively on that, and that is the reason we got a more thorough science of all these things. So it was, I can say, only extension and type of, you can say, further manifestation of the basic ideas.
Amendments, you can say, kind of amendment. Thank you so much, sir, for your beautiful knowledge and the wonderful time. Thank you.
Namaskar, Guruji.
Namaskaram, sir.
One clarification. So you told initially Nachiketa and Yamadharmaraj having conversation with both of them, and Yamadharmaraja gave 3 boons to him. The first one was Prasannata to his father and Nakroda, and the third one is Atman Brahman Gyan. I want to know what is the second one he asked.
Second one, he was asking that some people say there is a Swarga or there is a heaven or there is a paradise. I mean, this is a common concept in most of the cultures. There is a Jannat or paradise or Swarga. So he was saying that there is a place where all the Ananda is there, and there is a, you can say, the whole problems stop, and there is no old age, there is no disease. Such places there, people say. So is it true that such places there? If it is true, then how to reach there? And what is the, I mean, because that time there were Agni, different types of Agnis or different types of Yajnas were done to reach different types of levels and all, esoterically. So he was asking that what type of practice I should do so that one can reach there. That question he was asking. And then Yama got very happy and he said that, yes, there is a place, and that the way of doing penance through that will be, henceforth that Agni will be known as Nachiketa itself. So that was the second question. He was asking about just a precursor to his final question. He was asking, is there any place where all these things get, sort of, at least temporarily, these things get vanished and person gets the.
But sir, is there any mention of some?
You were mentioning
700 or 900 steps to reach heaven or something like that. Is there any such mention in the Kathopanishad which somebody?
No. See, many things afterwards come as the more, you can say, try to, when Puranic age came, many things became more and more sort of simplified. So in that there are steps, and there are actually some people there and some people sitting on the throne and all. So these all ideas come actually afterwards. Originally, if you look at the Vedic time or the Upanishadic time, people were having more subtle understanding or the depiction of it. It was not like the Middle Age when things became more story forward. I mean, there is a story in this, but it is not such you can say populist type of ideas are not given. There are things which will be entrance, somebody will be standing, and Chitragupta will be there, and these are all things which have come afterwards to make common man understand these abstract concepts.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Namaskaram, sir. You were mentioning about a state where the brightness of the sun, a state which is beyond the brightness of the sun and the illumination resulting out of it. I'm very eager to know about that. Is it anywhere the Mukti Moksha, the ultimate Mukti Moksha, or anything else mentioned in the Upanishads about that? I'm quite eager to know about that, sir.
So definitely that is what the whole destination was all the time was emphasized, that there is a place where that means that there is a place where once you go, you don't have to come back. Or there is a place where even the sun cannot get illuminate that place, and all that ideas are that only. Or the thunderbolts cannot even give light to that. So what is it? There is a place where ultimately your liberation or the final, what you can call as your realization is there. In that sense, it is mukti or moksha. That means you are liberating from the finite and going into the infinite. I think taken good number of questions.
Sir, good morning, sir. I have one question. You mentioned about Atman Angushta Matrena, size of the Atma. I would like to know what are the contents of this Atma, sir. What does it contain and build of?
No, Atman is basically, as we all know, it's a Satchid and Ananda. It's a truth, consciousness, and you can say bliss. These are the content of it. Because fundamentally, if you see at the lowest level as well as the highest level, what is the essence of our existence, or what is the essence of our whole, you can say, the reason that for all that we are trying to understand is these three fundamental ideas, that there is a truth, there is a conscious energy which is behind that truth, and there is also bliss. So Sat Chit and
प्लीज ये हिंदी में बताइए, प्लीज ये फिर हिंदी में बताइए।
ऐसा कल्पना है कठोपनिषद में कि अंगुष्ठ मतलब हमारे अंगूठे के आकार का एक तत्व है जो हमारे हृदय के पीछे, मतलब हमारी जो सूक्ष्म शरीर है उसमें है, और वहां से हमें हमेशा प्रेरणा मिलती है कुछ अच्छा करने की, कुछ क्योंकि वो ईश तत्व है, या वो हमारा जीवात्मा है, या वो हमारा कह सकते आत्मा का आविष्कार है। तो वो करते समय ये बताया गया कि वो कैसा है। अभी क्वेश्चन पूछा कि वो ये स्वरूप क्या है जिसको हम आत्मन या ब्रह्मन बोलते हैं, उसका वास्तव स्वरूप क्या है। तो उसके तीन भाग है, उसको सत्य है, चित्त है और आनंद है। मतलब वो सत्य है, वही है, वही सारे जगह पर है, इसलिए उसको सत्य कहते हैं। और वो जो है वो सिर्फ नहीं, मतलब वो है इतना ही बात नहीं है, लेकिन उसके पीछे एक शक्ति है, वो उसका शक्ति से वो कार्य कर सकता है, इसलिए उसको हम चैतन्य कहते हैं। तो उसको चैतन्य है, उसमें सत्यता है। और लेकिन ये सारा क्यों हो रहा है, ये सब, ये क्यों ये सारी लीला हुई है, तो उसमें आनंद है, इसलिए वो है। तो ये सत्य, चित्त और आनंद की हमने कल्पना की है।
Sir, can you please send the shlokas that we discussed to the index, to the
yes,
email ID?
I'll write down some selected shlokas. I'll write down and send through the organizer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
I had one doubt.
Yes.
What is the meaning of Tark?
What is the meaning of?
Tark. सर उससे पहले आप उसका मतलब देवनागरी में कैसे लिखते हैं वो बता देना।
तर्क अभी यहाँ मैं अभी तर्क का मतलब लॉजिक है। हम कहते हैं ना कि तर्क से कहो या कुछ कहो, तो मतलब आप एक प्रकार का क्या कहते हैं, लॉजिक को क्या कह सकते हैं हिंदी में, क्या कहते हैं आप उसको, कि एक चीज का आप जब स्टेप बाय स्टेप उसका एक डिडक्शन कर दे, या क्या कहते मतलब किसी चीज का प्रश्नों का उत्तर ढूंढते समय। हाँ,
प्रोसेस
तो वेरी प्रोसेस ऑफ आप अप्लाइंग योर इंटेलेक्ट, योर बुद्धि जब उसको प्रश्न पूछती है, ये क्यों है, ऐसा क्यों है, इसके वजह से ये है, उससे अनुमान निकालती है कि इसके वजह से ये, इसलिए ये है। ये जो स्टेप बाय स्टेप उसका आकलन करने की उसकी प्रक्रिया है, वो तर्क की प्रक्रिया है। लिखना है, तो के बाद क लिखना है, और क के ऊपर आपको रफार देना है।
सर परा और अपरा का मतलब क्या है? लास्ट डाउट।
परा अपरा का मतलब यह है कि अपरा इस जगत का ज्ञान है। यहाँ जो भी सारा ज्ञान है, जैसे गणित है, भौतिक शास्त्र है, रसायन शास्त्र है, जीव शास्त्र है, हमारा वैद्यक शास्त्र है, सारे जो शास्त्र यहाँ के, यहाँ की जो सारी विद्या है, तो ये सारे विद्याओं को मिलकर कहते हैं अपरा, इस जीवन का ज्ञान। और परा मतलब उसके परे जो है, उसके आगे जाके जो हमारा अध्यात्म का ज्ञान है, उसको परा विद्या बोलते हैं।
ओके, थैंक यू सर, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग सेशन था।
Sir, can we refer to the works of Max Muller? Like, would you recommend it?
I will not recommend it because sort of Max Muller again was a Indologist from the Western world. Some things he has understood, some things he has missed also, because they were not basically from the background of Sanskrit literature and also, but they have done some work to pioneering work. But I suggest rather than that, we should read the commentaries which are written by our people. So
Swami Garbhananda ji's
yes, many people have written. Many people have written. Chinmayananda is there, and Ramakrishna Ranganathan has done beautiful work. Swami Vivekananda himself has quoted many times. Shri Aurobindo has written a wonderful thing. So these I recommend more because they are from the they have read the original Sanskrit and then understood it, not the translations.
Sir, what is Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupta and Turiya?
Lot of questions are there. Can we take some questions tomorrow? Because tomorrow we are meeting. Can we start tomorrow with some questions and then we'll go ahead? Will it be okay for you?
Okay, sir.
So just the last, I'm taking this, since she has asked, I'm taking this, but then if some more questions may be there, because it's so interesting. Upanishads are so beautiful subject that definitely questions will come. But that is not exactly, the thing. Yeah, I have not considered Max Muller as a scholar. One question was, I only mentioned him as one of the person who has done commentaries at all. By no way, as I just now mentioned, there are many better commentaries. But Swapna, Jagar, Sushupti, they are all levels of consciousness. That is a waking state when you go to sleep, and then when you are in deep sleep, when there is no dream also. So these are the different levels what we are. Consciousness levels are there.
How about Dr. Radhakrishnan's book? I have that book. Radhakrishnan.
It's good book.
Good book.
Dr. Radhakrishnan has done good work.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Should we stop here for today?
Yeah. Thanks a lot. It was very interesting and informative.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Thank you.
सर, आप जब लेक्चर दे रहे थे तो ऐसा लग रहा था कि आप बोलते ही रहे और हम सुनते ही रहे, लेकिन हमें समय की तो मर्यादा है ही, इसलिए आज यही खत्म करते हैं और कल सुबह फिर से मिलते हैं। सबको धन्यवाद। नरेंद्र जी, आपको भी प्रणाम, नमस्ते।
धन्यवाद, प्रणाम। और कल हम
थैंक यू सो मच सर,
इस सब्जेक्ट को आगे लेके जाएंगे। धन्यवाद
सबका, धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू मैम।
थैंक यू।
इनका
थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir.
अच्छा रहेगा।
मैम, एक्सक्यूज मी मैम, मेरा अभी भी मैं